Terence Crawford gets upset with Canelo Alvarez, but nobody believes him. Terence Crawford has never fought. If he weighs more than 154 pounds, he could defeat Canelo Alvarez at his usual weight of 168 pounds. Terence Crawford's trainer, BRAWL McIntyre, doesn't support a rehydration clause.
There was rumors, people talking that you guys don't want a rehydration clause in the event if the fight does happen. Do you guys not want one?
Give a damn about that. He can only get so big. To get too big, then that's on him.
So do you like Terence's chances even without a rehydration
I love Terence's chances. When it first came out of his mouth, he said he wanted to fight more.
And yeah, you guys have zero issues with.
I have no issue with it.
No issues.
Terence ain't got an issue with it. I ain't got it.
There are fighters at 168 and 175 that Crawford could use his side pull to put a rehydration clause on them to weaken them enough for him to be competitive but still lose. However, Canelo is not one of them. McIntyre said,
In the past, most guys, when they're fighting bigger guys like that, that's going to be the first thing that they want.
That's some weak. Oh, you can't come in this much and shit. I make this fuck out of here. It's boxing. You got on the scale. I made the weight. Regardless when I come back, ass. Hey, you accepted the fight. Let's get in there and fight like men.
Canelo simply pointed out that Crawford has had a long career without facing many challenges. Terence can't blame his handlers for not finding him fights. If he had moved up to the 154, 160, or 168 weight classes, he would have had many chances for big fights in his career. McIntyre counters this narrative by suggesting that Crawford elevates his opponents, making them look less skilled, and they actually are. This support for Crawford's record is directly related to whether he is a good challenger for Canelo.
I'll tell you like this. I think Crawford rebuttal was everybody always say he hasn't fought nobody or everybody that he fought was a no name. But I'm gonna tell you like this, what Crawford said. Well, they was something until Crawford fought him. So obviously he's doing a great job because he's making everybody look normal.
Eubank's support of Crawford's record adds fuel to the fire, further complicating the narrative surrounding a possible Canelo fight. And his arguments suggest that Crawford's dominance has been so complete that it has inadvertently diminished the perceived quality of his opposition.
I think there's anyone else in boxing who you would ask and say this is a possible task for, but for Crawford, because of his pound for pound abilities, and apparently no rehydration clause. Am I hearing that right? He wants full smoke at that weight.
Let's go, man. That's what Crawford wants. He wants to show the world that he's the best. So, and why put stipulations in there when you know that you can be the best? So let's go test ourselves.
Let's continue. Teddy Atlas claimed Terence Crawford can knock out Canelo Alvarez, sparking debates as the highly anticipated Canelo versus Crawford fight is nearly completed but not yet confirmed.
I do think he's that special guy. I think Canelo's special too, but I think Crawford's special in a little bit, even more so. Even more so. He hasn't learned how to lose yet. I think he does have those special ingredients that go beyond the physical genetics, the physical DNA. So that's it. Okay, good. You don't like it?
And Crawford's own words only make the game even more electric. In to punches that knocked them out weren't even that hard. They just landed in the right spot at the right time. For Canelo, a boxer who is renowned for wearing down opponents' power, Crawford's emphasis on timing accuracy and landing where it hurts the most may serve as a warning that this fight is not simply another one, but a clash of two distinct arsenals. Even Crawford's trainer, BRAWL McIntyre, added to the fire with a bold statement. Crawford wants to show the world that he's the best, so hey, why put stipulations in there when you know that you can be the best? So let's go test ourselves. Teddy Atlas emphasized Crawford's potential to defeat Canelo, citing his dismantling of Errol Spence, an undefeated pound-for-pound star. Atlas believes Crawford's dominance sets him apart and makes him a threat even against seasoned opponents like Canelo.
He's beaten anybody that they put in front of him. He beat an undefeated fighter in Errol Spence that everybody thought was just like, one of the best fighters out there, which he was. He was one of the top fighters pound for pound out there, and he didn't just beat him, he dismantled him. He might have ruined him. We were talking about getting ruined in fights earlier. He might have ruined.
Teddy Atlas praised Crawford's skills and the impact he had on his opponents. Referencing the Spence fight, Atlas suggested Crawford may have left lasting physical and mental damage, raising questions about Spence's future in the sport. He stated, "He might have ruined him. We were talking about getting ruined in fights earlier. He might have ruined him. We don't know. Atlas praised Crawford's consistency, high-stakes delivery and superb execution, making him one of the most dangerous opponents, emphasizing his ability to meet every challenge and elevate him beyond just a great fighter. He stated, "He hasn't been Dak yet, Spence. He may have psychologically and physically ruined him, but he has done everything asked of him, and he's done it in a superb way." Teddy Atlas praises Terence Crawford as a unique fighter in boxing despite the difficulties he faces in terms of size, strength, and punching power. Atlas thinks Crawford's unique skill set can challenge even Canelo's game plan, stressing the importance of imposing strengths and adapting under pressure.
I look at Crawford as one of those special guys. I don't care if you guys are tired of me saying it. I look at him, look, Canelo's special too. I get it. And he's bigger. I get that too. And everyone's going to say, well, after Madrimov fight again, had a couple hiccups. Now he's stepping up another weight class. Now he's got to fight Canelo, who's even bigger, stronger, better puncher, a unified champion that he's been, all of that stuff. He's not going to be able to handle it. I asked this question. See, I go to the other side. I say, okay, yeah, can Canelo handle the smaller guy who's going to be faster, who's going to be slicker, who's going to be better defensively, who's going to have better legs?
Teddy Atlas talks the potential Crawford versus Canelo fight, highlighting the aging and wear of Canelo's physical attributes. Crawford's speed and agility could capitalize on any decline, adding to the drama. The question is whether Crawford can keep up and if Canelo can maintain his power, he stated. Canelo at this point in his career can slow down a little bit. They're both getting older, I get it, but sometimes, his legs aren't as quick. He doesn't close the gaps as fast. Teddy Atlas challenges the popular narrative by stressing that the fight between Canelo and Crawford is not just about size, but also about skill, strategy, and adaptability despite being smaller. Crawford has consistently proven his ability to rise to the moment despite the odds.
So, at the end of the day, before you go and drink the Kool-Aid and go crazy with Canelo, oh, he's too big, he's a good night for Crawford, he's going to bed, all that stuff, not so fast. Not so fast. Don't forget that the other guy is bringing something to the party.
Teddy Atlas analyzed the strengths and weaknesses of both fighters, saying his loyalty lies in Crawford's ability to shock the world despite facing a powerful opponent like Canelo. After watching his impressive skills, he stated, "But right now I think you know where I'm leaning, and I'll make it even clearer where I'm leaning, so there isn't a lot of suspense. I won't go against Crawford." Teddy Atlas's trust in Terence Crawford has sparked discussions with promoter Bob Arum, also expressing his belief in Crawford's abilities. Arum, who has worked with Crawford, has witnessed his evolution directly, adding to the growing anticipation surrounding the potential showdown.
Well, I wouldn't count Crawford out in any fight because Crawford has a unique talent. He's a great boxer-puncher, and he is totally ambidextrous.
Let's continue. Shakur Stevenson has stated that he will be victorious against Kid Austin. Shakur Stevenson announced at the start of the year that he plans to steal the show in a fight with Kid Austin, saying that he is working hard to showcase a different version of himself.
Like I said, I am trying to come steal a show. I'm focused, I'm ready, I've been working hard. I'm gonna be in tip-top shape come fight night, and you should see one of the best versions of me.
Floyd Schofield also questioned Shakur's career despite the fact that many fighters in the game think Kid Austin lacks the necessary expertise to take on Shakur. He stated that Shakur's knockout percentage is low and that he has not improved. He said, "We saw his surprise last fight. How much growth did we see? His hand got hurt. I don't see him getting more knockouts, so his knockout rate didn't grow. Did he become more skillful?" Shakur thinks Austin is not as aggressive as he should be even. If Austin is training hard for the fight, Shakur expressed his admiration for Austin, saying that his desire to win the world championship is admirable, because he was once driven to do this. As well, he said, "He's a dangerous fighter. He's a young kid, and I remember when I was that young how hungry I was to become world champion, how hungry I was to prove to the world that I was the best, and I know he's hungry too. I know he's going to train his ass off, but I just don't think it's at the level that he's ready for." Despite not making any predictions regarding the outcome of the fight, Shakur Stevenson made it clear that he is totally focused on it, and that when the battle is over, he will be the one to emerge victorious.
What are you predicting? A decision, knockout?
I try not to make them type of predictions. I try to just stay focused on the task and focus on what I got to do. However it go, I'm gonna come out victorious.
Richardson Hitchens, the newly crowned junior welterweight champion, jokingly mocked Austin in an interview with Fight Hype owner Ben Thompson before hyping the upcoming fight.
We're already talking about Shakur Stevenson. He's got his fight with Kid Austin. So you laughing again.
Kid. He's a kid. He's a kid now.
Richardson Hitchens attacked Floyd Kid Austin Schofield for failing to win a fight against Shakur Stevenson, claiming that it was too early for him to seize the chance. He said, "He's a kid. I give him credit for taking the fight, but I think he's one of the fighters that it was smart for him to jump on the chance right now. It's not a lose-lose. You're losing to a guy that's a pound-for-pound type of skill guy. And if he wins, he's on top of the world." Richardson thought that Shakur Stevenson would win this bout easily and suggested that Austin had no chance of defeating Shakur, while Austin's father is making every effort to get Austin excited. Richardson stated that while Kid Austin can defeat Shakur in a basketball game, he is incapable of defeating Shakur in a boxing battle.
He can't beat Shakur. Simple math. He can't beat Shakur. It's not nothing I gotta think about. Yeah, I think that is a easy work for Shakur. I think that hopefully the dad do bring a lot of excitement to the build up. You know what I'm saying? Make us kind of believe that if he can beat Shakur. But yeah, it is what it is. Maybe in basketball he probably could beat Shakur. Maybe. And I know Shakur is nice in that, but as far as boxing.
According to Richardson, Kid Austin is a young boxer with good fighting skills even after going to the gym. Man sparring Richardson believes Austin lacks the expertise necessary to match Shakur. He said, "I think that Kid Austin has got tools. That's going to make it difficult. He does have power. Probably he looks like a strong young kid got a reflex. They're certain that Shakur is not in the ring with every day in a fight, so he has it to not make Shakur dominate him. I don't believe it, but as far as beating him, like, he's not going to beat Shakur. He does have one-punch knockout power. He's probably one of those kids that probably was going around gym sparring to get experience, but he didn't really get anything like that to compete with Shakur." Richardson went on to remember Austin sparring in the ring with Shakur. He also stated that Kid Austin is not the guy who can compete with Shakur. He called the fight a money grab. He said, "I feel like the only guys that can fight with Shakur are guys like Tank and me, Keyshawn, guys that have been around for some time now, the Gary Russell, the guys that have been in that class for a minute. I think Kid Austin is still a young kid. It's just different, and he knows that he's been in the ring with Shakur. It's a money grab, and we'll see going on." Canelo confirmed his readiness to fight Crawford. Canelo confirmed his intention to face Crawford, acknowledging great enthusiasm and showing a clear desire to participate in the highly awaited bout.
I want to see that fight, and maybe they see that fight. We don't know yet, right? But maybe they see that fight, and I'm always open to good fights, you know, and don't get me wrong, he's a good fighter. He's really good abilities and everything, and maybe we will see that.
Canelo sets the stage by affirming his readiness to face any top competitor and states, "Yeah, you know, it's at this point, I fight with everybody, with every champion, with all the best out there." Focusing on Terence Crawford, Canelo uses Crawford's tactful demeanor to justify his readiness to entertain the fight. He respects Crawford's straightforward desire for the fight. Canelo explains his position. "I think he's wanted the fight and doing polite. You know, I want Canelo. I want Canelo. No, nothing bad, saying bad things about me, whatever." However, Canelo adds a layer of uncertainty, suggesting that his decisions are ultimately his own and can change at any time. He emphasizes his autonomy in picking his opponents, adding a touch of unpredictability to the situation. Canelo ends this part by saying, "But like I say, you never know. Maybe someday I wake up and I say I want to beat this guy." For Canelo, respect is not just a word, it's a guiding concept. He consistently emphasizes the value of respecting opponents and all individuals within the sport. This philosophy dictates his interactions and affects his choices regarding future matchups. This respect-based approach is a cornerstone of his public image and influences how he conducts himself both inside and outside the ring.
Yeah, I always respect my opponents and every single fighter, every single people. Obviously, they don't. Okay, it's different, no, but yeah, I always try to respect people, respect the fighters, respect my opponents. I'm not that kind of guy. I never go into a fight or into bad things with people. But if somebody disrespect me, that's different.
Beyond respect, Canelo emphasizes his willingness to take risks and accept challenges, a key element that could draw him to a fight with Crawford. He highlights his history of moving up and down weight classes, showing a fearlessness that aligns with facing a smaller but highly skilled opponent like Crawford. Canelo states, "I take my risk my whole career, opening up and down in weight classes, because I really love challenges, and I really love what I do. And I try to show everybody how good I am at going up and down." And Canelo's approach to boxing is characterized by his emphasis on the current task rather than his prior successes. His respect-based negotiating style and willingness to take chances and rise to challenges paved the way for possible future bouts like the much-awaited confrontation with Crawford, but the narrative around this possible bout is also influenced by the thoughts of other well-known boxers, especially when it comes to whether Crawford has what it takes to overcome Canelo. The viewpoint of knowledgeable experts and seasoned promoters offers important background for understanding the dynamics of this kind of matchup.
Wouldn't count Crawford out in any fight because Crawford has a unique talent. He's a great boxer puncher, and he is totally ambidextrous. So he drives his opponent crazy because the opponent trains the fight a right-handed fighter and ends up fighting a south.
Moving on. Pros forecast Conor Benn vs Chris Eubank Jr. Eddie Hearn. Conor Benn's boxing promoter examines the intense rivalry between Conor Benn and Eubank Jr., saying that like their father's rivalry, Benn and Eubank have a sincere dislike for one another. Hearn highlighted the magnitude of their rivalry, saying the appeal and ticket sales for the first time it was announced to be fought in the O2 Arena, and Eddie emphasized the grander and bigger fight this time.
Fathers, it's got absolutely everything. We saw the first time we made this fight, it was the fastest selling fight ever at the O2. It was the biggest grossing fight ever at the O2. Now it'll be in a stadium, and it'll be 3 times.
Hearn predicted a major Benn vs Eubank Jr. fight in British boxing history. Conor Benn returns after a 2.5-year ban, and Eddie is excited about his new boxing license. Benn took the offer due to frustration and hard work during the suspension. Turki Alalshik's participation in negotiations has led to favorable conditions for Benn.
Hours of the morning, of course, you saw His Excellency announce the big one, Ben Eubank, and I couldn't be happier. You know, 2 years of graft, 2 years of pain, if you like, particularly for Conor, but for me as well. And I never stopped grafting. I never stopped grinding away. And we ended up with just an amazing opportunity for Conor Benn. Absolutely everything we wanted in the deal and more. Everyone done an amazing job, and now you've got the biggest fight in Britain.
Legendary broadcaster Adam Smith has voiced his opinion on the Conor Benn vs Chris Eubank Jr. fight, stating that more events should be held to appeal to casual fans, as hardcore boxing enthusiasts find fights like Artur Beterbiev vs Dimitri Bivol appealing.
Mine's pretty simple. I think casual fans need to get involved in the sport still. I think it's the Bivol-Beterbiev sort of type of fights, which are fantastic, are always going to be loved by fight fans.
Smith says Conor Benn vs Chris Eubank has a similar or to the Tyson Fury vs Anthony Joshua rivalry because the fandom is more familiar with their story and past. Adam thinks that some well-known fighters and rivalries transcend the sport of boxing and will have greater public appeal if they were to fight each other.
Casual fans, and there's probably 4 or 5 names that casual fans just know now. Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, obviously, and that fight I think still needs to happen. And Conor Benn and Chris Eubank, or Chris Eubank and Conor Benn, it doesn't really matter. Eubank and Benn are names that they're familiar with. They obviously know the story of what happened.
Adam Smith initially hated the Conor Benn vs Eubank Jr. fight due to the weight difference between the two fighters, not the controversy surrounding Benn's use of performance-enhancing drugs. However, he thinks Benn's increased size makes the fight more suitable. Smith thinks the intense exchange between the two and the rivalry's narrative will make headlines in the event actually.
Didn't like it much last time as a fight with the beforehand, before all the difficulties and then it was called off. But when I thought about the weights and everything, I was a little bit uncomfortable with it. But time has moved on. I think Conor is naturally bigger than he was anyway. And I think that it is an acid fight and story and rivalry that is going to light up the back page.
Adam Smith explores the rivalry between Conor Benn and Eubank Jr., comparing them to their fathers. He thinks Ben and Chris are opposites, with unique expressions. Smith is intrigued by the fight's result, with Eubank's plan being to use his skills to overwhelm Ben and Conor's tenacity to overcome him.
And they're both very good communicators, by the way, in their different ways. And there's a hatred, there's pride. You know Ben's going to be vicious. You know Eubank is going to try and utilize his skills. Fascinating to see how Eubank really makes the weight and how strong he is. Fascinating to see whether Ben is as strong on the night. He's got to take the fight to Eubank.
Conor Ben, eager to return to the ring after a 2.5-year suspension, showed excitement on Instagram Live for his upcoming performance against Eubank. Interview 233 months remain until the fight between Chris Eubank Jr. and Conor Ben has already made his plans clear. Conor boldly predicted that at the end of the 4th round he would easily beat Eubank by knocking him out. Ben, despite his boxing suspension, stays confident in his fighting abilities and CH to face Chris Eubank in a 2-division fight. Conor criticizes Eubank and his team for underestimating him, saying he may have thought Eubank was an easier matchup due to his welterweight status. Ben notes the rehydration clause in his contract.
Banking on me having to jump up 2 weight divisions. You know, all I keep seeing is sob stories about how Eubank's got to stick to the rehydration clause, which is championship rehydration clause. So, you know, that's what they do for the IBF world title. So I don't hear anyone getting a violin about me having to jump up 2 weights. So, yeah. As I said, it's Team Ben versus everybody.
So that's all from today's outro movie. If you liked it, remember to leave a like, subscribe, and ring that bell icon so you never miss our future videos.